2020 The Tempest is a production directed by Grzegorz Jarzyna, with a script produced by Weronika Murek and Grzegorz Jarzyna. It was repeatedly postponed owing to the pandemic, but it finally premiered online on the 27th of November 2020. It was live-streamed and then, when the theatres were opened for a brief spell, also made available on the Rozmaitości theatre stage in Warsaw, Poland. The production is divided into two parts, with the first part focusing closely on the events that we know from Shakespeare's play, with a decidedly post-apocalyptic ring to them. The second part is concerned with the aftermath of the catastrophe, not only the shipwreck, but also Prospero's death, as in this version of The Tempest, Prospero can die, and indeed, in at least some of the versions, he does. Each performance of 2020 The Tempest is different, as actors' decisions are dictated by the audience's responses to the artificial intelligence questions and polls taken before the first and the second part. Today we are interested in the role that Stefano and Trinculo play in the production, as their function is not to provide comic relief, just to the contrary. Trinculo, played by Sara Celler-Jezierska, cuts Prospero's throat with a broken glass, and we really want to know why. That is why we are interviewing Sara Celler-Jezierska about her role in 2020 The Tempest.
In Shakespeare's play, Trinculo and Stefano are clowns, typical Shakespearean clowns. During The Tempest, they are also cast on the island, away from the other characters. They wander aimlessly, a little lost, a little drunk, until they meet Caliban. First, they're not sure whether he's a man or a fish, but they soon begin to plot with him. They begin to fantasize about taking over the island, but they need to kill Prospero first. They don't succeed in Shakespeare's play. They can't, because they are clowns. But how comic or tragic they are as characters, now that depends on the production. Sara Celler-Jezierska, playing Trinculo in Grzegorz Jarzyna's The Tempest, will tell us more about Trinculo in 2020.
So everything here starts from The Tempest as well. The plot and the characters' dramas are parallel with typical meteorological effects of a storm on an island. And it is written in the script and in its structure. So there are scenes that happen in heat, darkness, cold, and fog. Trinculo and Stefano were on the board of the plane, flying with the others. They were drinking hard and partying, which you can hear from the flight recording at the very beginning of the show. They are singing in the background. They are always in the background of the main events, but they are always there. Trinculo and Stefano are those types whose past function and condition remain unknown and blurred. Why did they decide to take that trip? No idea, but if I were to guess, I would say for the money. I saw the stage and costume presentation in May, and those were ready projects with specific references and inspirations. And I had no doubts about it, especially when I saw the whole mood board of the show. It was abstract, but it was coherent somehow. So we just checked if the makeup is okay with my skin, and the final effect was almost the same as the prototype in the mood board. I would say that in our performance, they are also designed to be a kind of comic relief. We try to manifest it through our movement, comments, general pace and presence of characters that is a bit faster than the others and lacking the trauma that others have. So we have green faces and violet faces and colorful costumes, and our props are 2 glasses and a bottle of vodka in a white French poodle. So at first glance, we are absolutely not serious. As somebody in a cage, somebody different from them, they are looking for water, but they want some information as well. Caliban is confused, emotionally exhausted, weak, and they use it. The alcohol they give Caliban only helps. They get the info that triggers other events and sets new goals for them. So they perceive Caliban as a pawn, but it turns out that he's not as weak as they thought. And that's surprising, but also provokes them to think about the benefits of that new relation. They are led by instincts rather than intellect. They only get involved in situations that can bring them benefits. The power is the main trigger. They are always near the most important person in the group. They are drunk. They are searching for basic tools to survive, water, food, but also entertainment, alcohol, money, power. Trinculo is drunk, but it isn't visible in how he walks or talks. Once I've heard a story of a junkie that didn't remember that he had stolen a painting, and he had entered the gallery, cut out the canvas with absolute precision, and took it from the gallery's window unnoticed. I saw some CCTV footage, and that heist looked like the man was buying crisps, and there was nothing extraordinary, no tension. And that was my idea to work on the part. That was Trinculo for me. Artificial intelligence. While preparing the murder scene, we decided to present 2 images, one with Trinculo killing Prospero by himself, and the other with Stefano leading Trinculo's hand to kill. And artificial intelligence chooses the option during the show, and we get the info just before our first entrance on the stage. I think they will easily survive. I see them as human lizards that will finally emerge from the sand for food. Well, I had a lot of fun when preparing for the role. My first inspiration was Villanelle from the TV series Killing Eve, and I decided to keep it as light, humorous, and cheeky as possible. In a serious way, of course, because Trinculo is more serious than Stefano in our version. And I didn't delve into the character's psyche deliberately. I focused on 2 basic facts: that my character has a green face, and that was really important for me. And another fact is that Trinculo looks glamorous, or more or less glamorous. So being an incredibly flat character was the strength, Trinculo's strength. That was my first work with Shakespeare on stage, and I was really excited when I got that opportunity. It turned out that the script is based on the original, and finally it was an interpretation of the dramatists. Weronika Murek and Grzegorz Jarzyna adjusted the text to the action and mood on the stage, and generally the poetry of the text of the original and its form was less important, because in this adaptation action was the key. Most of the text was ready at the first stage of my process, and it evolved during the rehearsals. Our parts, however, remained more or less the same from the very beginning. One scene from the Stefano Trinculo sequences was dropped, but eliminating is always a part of the process.